All right. Hey, everyone. I'm a little bit more on time today. Let me just make some adjustments here. All right, cool. How's everyone doing today? Today's Monday, and we have a lot to talk about. So let me just go over to my comments. All righty then. Okay, let's see. Here we go. All right, so hold on. Let me just make an adjustment. Before I begin, let me just make an adjustment here. Hold on a second. You guys can hear me okay, right? Can you guys hear me? I hope you guys can hear me. Let me see. Yeah, my sound is going off. All right, cool. Anyone watching me today or no? I only see like two people. Come on, man. I'm gonna wait a minute. I'm not gonna talk. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait until I see a comment or something. So anyway, there we go. Grego, how you doing, man? All right, good to see you. Good to see you. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna make an adjustment here. Hold on, we're gonna switch this over the chart. I'm gonna switch this over. We'll put the SPY on. Okay. And then I'll explain this here in a moment. Let's just put this up here, and so we can get into this. All right, now, so all right, so if you're new to the stream, welcome. Let me explain to you how this works. All right, cool. So first, I'm going to go over the economic calendar, like I usually do, right? And then we're going to get into the charts, right? Now, let me. So here's where I want to make a special announcement. So if you notice in the title here in this one, I left Bitcoin off the title, right? So I want to explain why and what that means because it's important for you guys to understand. So I have a second channel now. All right. I want to give you the backstory and tell you what's going on. So when I was in Andorra, I met these guys there and we basically kept in touch. And recently they came to me and they said, we think you have a lot of potential with your personal brand, but you need help and we'd like to help you. And I said, yeah, okay. And they said, but you have to follow our instructions if you want to do it the right way. Now, this guy, he's established, he knows what he's doing. And clearly, based on my results, based on what you could see with my YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so he said, no, we can do something, but you have to follow my instructions. I said, all right. So basically, we started a separate channel because you guys know I wanted to do a separate channel. I wanted to do something on YouTube, but like this stream, as you can see, I'm lazy, right? You guys know that I'm lazy. I barely could do one stream a week. And when I was doing like the AM streams, like the every other day, I couldn't even get that going. Like I was just like, right? I'm lazy, man. Well, these guys said, okay, you got to produce a video every day. Like every day. How am I going to do that, man? I'm lazy. Well, because I am now accountable to someone, I'm working with a team and they're helping me. Now I'm accountable and I have to produce this video. And it's been very motivational. So before I give you the link, because I'm going to give you the link to the channel so you guys can check it out, I want to explain a few things. So I'm going to continue with the stream like I'm doing here every Monday, right? That's not going to change. But I will, for my Bitcoin analysis specifically and altcoins and things like that, I will refer you to my other channel, right? Because you'll have a brief 10-minute video there or something like that that focuses on that, right? So you don't have to sit here for an hour and listen and all that other stuff. You could just go there, watch it. It's convenient. The videos are, I'd say, much higher quality than my stream here as far as the charting goes and stuff like that. Because basically they provide me with the framework and then I got to make the video. So I basically have like a producer, right? And they're saying, okay, here's what you're going to go over. They give me like sort of like a framework. They give me some sort of like line items. You're going to cover these topics. Okay. And you're going to do it every day. So before you guys watch this channel and you're like, what are we watching here? I want to explain what you're going to see so you're prepared. All right. So first of all, I want to just give you a little backstory. My first video that we made like a test video and they watched it and they said, okay, we got some feedback for you. And I'm like, oh yeah, great. And like, it's boring. Because when I made the video, I made it sort of like I do these streams. I talk about some serious topics, and I talk in a serious way, almost like I'm trying to cater to people who watch Bloomberg, right? That type of more professional crowd. And that's what you guys pretty much are, right? Well, they're like, no, we need more from you here, right? So I thought of the scene. I don't know if you guys remember that scene from SNL. There's a classic skit that they used to make that they had years ago with Christopher Walken, and they were doing like a band session, and he's like, you know what this needs, right? More cowbell. Do you remember that? I don't know if you guys remember that. More cowbell. Well, it was like that, right? Hey Kai. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, so you guys want more? Yeah, they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But instead of cowbell, they were telling me more dopamine. You need more dopamine. More dopamine. I'm like, dopamine. All right. So I made a second video, and then I basically, instead of dopamine, I gave them heroin. I like went overboard, right? And they loved it. They said, yeah, great. This is what we want. So they published it, and it got small views because again, it's, and by the way, my face isn't on the channel. It's just my voice. It's my name and my voice, but I'm not doing, like, you don't see my face, right? So then I said, all right, I gotta do better than my first one. So then I really started getting out of hand. And then I published one yesterday because I've been doing one every day now. So I'm exhausted, but because it takes me hours to produce a 10-minute video. I really went overboard, man. I really went. So I want you to know what you're going to see there is not what you're used to here. Because here, like, hi, you guys, we go over sophisticated things, and we talk about things in a serious way, sort of like the way I write my articles, right, on TV. Like, they're very dry. They're very, like, there's not much humor in them. Well, when you watch this channel, basically I'm like, like Jim Cramer, except the bad advice without the bad advice. So, but I really get out of hand with some of the jokes and some of the, because I'm basically entertaining myself. So I just want you to be pre-warned that what you're going to see is me on heroin. Now, I don't take that out of context. Oh, he takes heroin now. No, I don't take heroin, but in those videos I act like I'm on heroin. I'm just warning you. So what I'd like you to do is I'm going to give you the link before I wrap up the stream here. And I'm not going to go overboard today because I got to make my video for today. So I will be making these videos every day, right? That's like nuts for me. So for you guys, how that's a benefit to you guys is if you guys want to see Bitcoin or altcoins or something like that, let me know here, or send me an email or something, and I'll send that to my guys, and then they'll put something together, and then you could watch it. Since I'm producing every day, and they like whatever, they'll put it on, and you'll get your requests answered, on that channel, right? So it's going to be nice for that. Now, but what I am allowed to talk about here, because so that it's not a conflict of interest, I can talk about stocks, I could talk about ETFs, I can talk about, Forex, whatever, all our economic stuff, all that stuff, except for I can't show the Bitcoin and altcoin charts here because they're going to be on the other channel. Does that make sense? You guys have any questions? So I'm not going to share the link right away. I'm going to share it before I go to keep you guys on here watching me, because you're like, I want that link. All right. And what I want you to do is when you watch these videos, right, I want you to leave comments, and like, if you hate them and you're like, man, you're like an effing clown, put that up, leave the comment. I don't care. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Leave the comment. I want to hear it. Okay. But I'm just saying, you guys are going to be like, what is going on here? It gets bad. All right. I'm just saying, because, controversy is what gets views. So I basically have to act like a clown to entertain, I just want to point out, like, I thought to myself, well, who's going to be watching these videos? And, it's like a, TikTok crowd, you know what I mean? Like a TikTok head crowd. They're younger. They want, like, dopamine, something funny, like that. That's the kind of crowd I'm entertaining. So we have quality analysis with, lowbrow entertainment. Now the thing is, the analysis part of those videos is it's in line with what I believe. Like, it's not like they're coming up with like nonsense and I'm just talking nonsense. The charts look great, and the perspective and the analysis that's being done is similar to my own. I agree with a lot of the talking points that they give me. Maybe not all of them. Like, they make me look at an Ichimoku chart. I'm like, what the? I don't. Guys, I don't use stuff like that. but it's good for like to open your mind and stuff like that. And I even address that in the video. So stuff like that. So you're going to be seeing me talk about things that I normally don't talk about on my stream and stuff like that. Make sense? Um, yeah, well, Kai, you know what it is? These guys agreed to help me grow my brand, and they know what they're doing. Is the thing, because I mean, the one guy's established, like he's proven it, and he said, "Look, we can do the same thing for you, you know, and we'll be basically they're like my you know my producers now." And they just basically give me the kind they give me my talking points, do this, and I have to produce the video. So it's a lot of work for me, man. It's exhausting, but I enjoy it because now they hold me accountable, and now I'm motivated. Where before, you guys know I can't even get the stream together on time. So anyway, but it's exciting and it's fun. I have a lot of fun with the videos, although they drive me nuts. It's fun. So there's 3 of them now, and I have to produce one today. So after the stream, I'm gonna the remainder of the day I'm gonna be working on the video. Okay. So anyway, no, I appreciate it. Well, it's not, so it's not really a new role, Grego. It's still me, right? But it's just me in a focused on a specific niche, and I have people that are helping me. That's the thing. I have a team now that they're helping me. I could never do what they're doing. I could never do this on my own. Like the content that they're giving me to work with, like to come up with all that, I could never do that. I could never do. Like I said, I could barely get these stupid streams together, right? So, hey, Hamid, how are you? All right. So the reason why I'm giving you this speech now, because again, like I said, Kai, I'm going to continue with these streams as I do. It's just I have to leave certain things out. That's all, and I'll refer you to there. All right. Hey, there he is, Alex from Romania. Alex from Romania. Romania. I was waiting for him. Romania. I love Romania. Well, Alex, you know, I was just yelling at you just now. My entire videos are me yelling. Okay. So anyway, that's why my voice is weak. Cool. Savi from Brooklyn. All my regulars. Savi, how you doing? From Brooklyn. I love Savi. I haven't seen you in a while, Savi. How you doing in Brooklyn? You taking those free buses yet? So anyway, Romania. Yes, you have to love Romania. Alex, I got that email from you. I'm sorry I couldn't respond to the email. Guy sends me 14 pages of research, man, and I'm like, I can't read all of this, but very interesting article about the infrastructure altcoins. Very, very interesting. I like that article very much, Alex. And I wanna do some further research on some of those coins. In fact, I'm gonna bring that up to my guys, and maybe we can put some kind of video content together about those coins. Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna get into that. All right. So I just wanted to be upfront with you guys, just let you know what I'm up to. And before the stream is over, I'm going to give you the link to my other channel, and you can watch my videos. They're there. There's 3 10-minute videos there right now. Okay. And what I want you to do is I want you to leave comments on the videos. And if you hate them, I want to know. Just put, this sucks. You know, this is not Mark P. Market. This is not the Mark P. Markets I know. Because I'm telling you, I really get out of hand. All right. It's not the version of me that you're used to. So anyway, you know, because see, I'm boring here, right? So there I'm trying to be entertaining. I'm like a dancing monkey. So all right. So let's get into it. All right. So if you guys have any questions about everything I just explained, let me know, and I'll be happy to answer them. And before we go, I'll give you the link. Okay. So anyway, let's start with that economic calendar because we have a very busy week. Okay. We have a very busy week this week. Starting with tomorrow, we have on my calendar, correct me if I'm wrong, but on my calendar, I had non-farm payrolls for tomorrow. Is that right? We have NFP tomorrow? I mean, I was very confused by that, but I guess because the schedule was thrown off. Dancing monkeys. There he is, UTXO. I'm going to tell you one thing. When you see those videos, I want you to know one thing. You are the inspiration for the humor. I think you, of all people, will appreciate the stuff that I go over in those videos. Because when I was making them, I was thinking of you. Okay? So anyway, They okay. I thought so. I thought so. Oh, it's old data. Oh, so we don't have. Oh, so they're behind. So we're not getting the November NFP. Ah, that I'm like, what is this? And I thought because we had no NFP the week before. Man, they're an effing mess. All right, so no problem. Okay, but so there's an old NFP tomorrow. Just be prepared for that because that can cause this is throwing stuff off. Like this is unusual, right? So that can throw things off balance. Just be I assume it's at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. My calendar doesn't have a timestamp on it. So we have non-farm payrolls tomorrow. Okay. Um, okay. Okay, cool. Right. No, but that makes sense because I saw the date. I'm like, it's off. I'm like, I figured it had something to do with that. Also, tomorrow we have. There was something else tomorrow. What was it? I think it was the. It was an ISM manufacturing number. Was that tomorrow? There was a second thing tomorrow. It wasn't just non-farm payrolls. There was something on there, but I can't remember it right now. Wednesday was kind of quiet. Okay. And then Thursday's a very busy day, right? Starting with the EU, they have their rate announcement, right? Then they have the Bank of England has their rate announcement. Then we have the CPI report, okay, here on Thursday. And then Bank of Japan, which I guess is Thursday evening going into Friday. I guess that's right. So we'll talk about that here in a moment. And then on Friday we have core PCE. Core consumer price expenditure, core personal consume PC, core personal consumption expenditures. That's it. And okay, okay, yeah, no problem, no problem, no problem, Alex from Romania. And make sure you go watch my other channel when you'll see it when I put the link here. Make sure you go watch my other channel. I definitely want to hear what you think. All right. So anyway, have a good evening in Romania. I have to keep saying that. So you guys get it? So core PCE on Friday. Now, I thought that was supposed to be the Friday before. So I'm a little confused by that core PCE number, but it's an important number because, Powell's talked about that many times. The market likes to look at that number, right? So those are like the main highlights of this week. And I would say Thursday's a pretty heavy duty week. Now, pretty heavy duty day. Now, let's talk about the interest rates from Japan. That's a serious thing because, like Alex mentioned here, if they start raising their rates, he said rate hike. Remember, the Bank of Japan has been pouring money into the global economy forever, right? They just print cheap money, and people have been making money off that cheap money for a very long time, right? Because the interest rates were like zero on the yen or something like that. They were very low. So if you have a high yield currency and you put those two together, you essentially get free money, right? You take yen and you borrow another currency with it and whatever, and then you basically or you borrow. I forget how you do it. It's a carry trade, and you just get interest. You collect free interest. It's risk free, right? So Bank of Japan will Bank of what will take 20. Okay, on Grego core retails. Oh, that's I think retail sales. Yes, Tuesday. Thank you. I'm just looking at this thing here. And in fact, let me put it up on the screen. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I gotta do a calendar. I gotta figure out a calendar thing because this is ridiculous. I gotta be showing you guys a calendar. So core retail sales. That's the one I forgot. Right. Okay. So that's on Tuesday. Right. So those are the main things. It's a pretty busy week in my opinion. And yeah. Well, quantitative tightening. I guess whatever it is that they're doing, right? I guess by raising rates, that's what that would be, quantitative tightening. But the thing is, if they're doing that, though, if they're doing that, they're taking money out of the global economy, right? So if rates rise globally, that's putting friction on things. That's not necessarily a good thing, right? That's going to affect stuff. I think it's going to make things harder, right? It's going to be harder to borrow money globally. So I don't know how much it would affect the U.S. because we are a pretty big economy, and we're about to print as much money as possible. We're about to flood the world with our money. Um, They have a. I gotta look at it, Kai. I know they have a calendar. I'm just looking for something that's graphically like I'll figure it out. But I got to show something because me just talking about it with a chart behind me, people are like, all right, enough. I'm falling asleep over here. Okay, so that's pretty much the calendar, right? But keep an eye on that, on those rate announcements. I mean, Thursday, like the whole day is like rate announcements, right? So that there could be some movement, right? Especially early, like the European session, right, with euro and pound, and then at night you have Bank of Japan. So that and then CPI coming out in the New York session. That's going to be a pretty interesting. There's a lot of potential that day for movement. Let's just put it that way, and not a Powell movement, not a Powell movement. UTXO. All right. So that's the economic calendar. Now, so let me get into this. If you guys have questions, like if you want to talk about any type of the ETFs, if you want to talk about things that are highly correlated to Bitcoin, I can talk about those things. I just can't show the BTC USD chart. Okay. So, because I'll steer you to the other channel. So let's begin first. We'll start with the S&P. All right, we'll start with that, and then we'll get into like the economic stuff and this and that, because the S&P is a pretty important piece of this whole puzzle. Look at this, okay? I mean, we've talked about this before, right? Look, double top. Look at this. But where are we at right now on this thing? This thing is. Oh, let me move this out of the way. Hold on. You know what? Let me do this. Hold on. Can you see that? No, this doesn't look right, man. Hold on. Maybe I put this over here. Can you guys see? I don't think that matters. It doesn't matter. You can't see those numbers anyway. All right. So let me go back here. We is it? We have. Oh, I can't read that. On. We have. Oh. Well, okay. Well, 75,000. I've never made any specific forecast for that, man. You know me. I don't make specific forecasts. But anyway, yeah. So there's a lot of information about that on the other channel. So anyway, I have a question. Do comments that are in any way, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. YouTube's. I don't know. You're gonna have to ask the conspiracy theorists. Well, okay, all right, Ahmed. Don't get out of hand here. That doesn't really have an effect. Not in December. Yeah, people go away. Volume dries up during that week, right into the holidays. Yes, that is true. You will see volume dry up, but that does not necessarily translate into bearish movement, right? It could be just slow grind. It could go slow grind higher because remember, everyone's all feeling good during the holidays, right? So the market reflects that sentiment. I've seen it many times where you don't really get much of anything, or you just get slow grind bullish, right? Or just like these tight ranges that are really not worth getting involved with, right? So, and we're likely to see that, but let's get into like S&P here, right? Because this is a big weight on everything. Look at this, right? So today this thing is what 681, and we're not really, we haven't pulled back by much, right? But look at this. This was Friday's candle, I guess, right there. We have a double top on this right now. We're supposed to be in Santa rally season right now. Now the question is, this double top, where is this thing likely to retest these lows? Probably not this month because of what Hamid's talking about there, right? The sentiment is going to be, yeah, I need to put this back on so I can get my tool. All right, hold on a second. I need to see I need this. So we're likely to see, let me get my, what do I want to show here? Actually, we could just do this. All right, I got my tools. All right, so because we have that bullish sentiment basically lurking, I wouldn't be looking for a low like this. Not this month. Maybe first quarter, because look what we have here. We have a support right there, and we're fooling around that support. Maybe this thing goes a little bit lower, right, before it squeezes, right? Something like this. Look at this area right here. That would be a pretty convenient spot for the S&P to test this month and reverse. That's 675, okay? That's 675 right here. This is 675. So how would we play something like that? How can you play something like that? Options are a great way, but basically you'd be waiting for the longs there. Yeah, you may get a long here, but that's more of like those are like day trade levels. You know what I mean? Um, it doesn't look good, Grego. It doesn't look good, but this is the point that I want to make. Yeah, I will, Hamid. I will. But the reason why I hold back is because I want you guys to stick with me for a little while, and then before I wrap this up, I'll give it to you. So it's like the carrot and stick thing. I'm sorry I have to do it like that. Okay, I'm being a pain. You can't see the top. All right, I'm trying. See, I was trying to be cool, but never mind. I'm not going to be cool anymore. All right, so you can't see those numbers. Let me put back to how this used to be. Okay, and let me move this thing so you can see the top of my screen. You can see the top of my screen now. You should be able to see it, right? I know. I thought I'd be cool by trying to put more screen space up there, and you guys are like, no, it's not cool. All right, no problem. But I'm here to make it good for you guys, man. It doesn't matter what I think. All right, so let me go back to the comments. All right, how's that? That should be better. Okay, cool. All right, thanks for letting me know. So again, while this formation looks very bearish, and you're like, oh, this thing looks like it's gonna sell off. Well, remember what we're going into. You have to look at the bigger picture, the holistic picture. We're right in the middle of Santa rally time, right? We're in the middle of the month, so I suspect that this thing is probably going to struggle to go much lower. And I highly suspect that there's a high probability that this thing will reverse somewhere in here. Okay. So if you're looking at how is this useful to you? Well, if you're looking at stocks, if you're looking at things that are highly correlated to the S&P, you should be looking for longs. That's my point here. Don't be fooled by a pattern like this when the general environment is contrarian to it. It's contra to it. You know what I mean? So that's where you can spot opportunities, because while everyone is focusing on the chart and saying, hey, this chart looks ugly, you know, you're saying, well, this is a buying opportunity. But the key to that is waiting for confirmation. This is why, Hamid, you have to maintain an open mind. You have to say, okay, this looks bearish, it looks ugly, but this is a high probability reversal area. I need to see the reversal, and then I can measure my risk. Once you can measure your risk, that's when you can decide, I want to get involved or I don't like the risk, and you don't get involved. But what I'm describing here is really more of a swing trade type of mentality, right? Now, and you can apply this to anything. It doesn't have, I'm just showing the S&P chart because this is going to affect a lot of stocks. All the big names are going to behave in a similar way. So I don't have to show you Facebook. I don't have to show you, whatever, Netflix, because they're all heavyweights that, they may not all be in the S&P, but they're basically they're market stocks. They're generally going to follow the S&P, right? So keep that in mind. Also, keep in mind a tweet can come out of nowhere and you could see a big green day. Okay. You could see something like this out of nowhere because of an effing tweet. Keep that in mind. So the chart tells us one thing, but you have to consider the possibilities of what we could see ahead. A chart is rear looking, right? It's like looking in the rear view mirror. So we can use that to gauge where we can anticipate behavior ahead, but we can only anticipate, but the market has to confirm. If the market doesn't confirm, then you have to step aside. Don't fight it, right? Don't think you know. That's a big mistake. Don't think you know. People say, "Oh, well, I think the market's going to do this." You just failed right there. If you say I think, you've just failed, because the market doesn't care what you think. It does whatever it does because the market is a aggregation of the sentiment of everyone involved, right? So, and people are shaped by the perceptions of the future. Some news article come out, Powell has a meeting somewhere and says something stupid, whatever. Tweet comes out and it changes the perceptions. The only way to make money on that type of event itself, like I've told you before, is you have to have inside information, right? You have to know that that tweet is coming out, and then you'll make money. But you're trying to react and this and that, and trying to, scan Twitter all day. It's not practical. That's why a chart can help you be prepared. All right, let's move on. Let me know if you have questions about the S&P. Let's go to the bond market because the bond market is just as important. All right. Now, again, if you guys have questions about like Bitcoin ETF or something like that, I can talk about those things. All right. So I don't want you to be like, oh, he's not going to talk about Bitcoin anymore. I mean, I can cover those markets, which are highly correlated and can help you along with things like Bitcoin or whatever as well. All right. So let me know if you have any questions. Now, let's take a look at the bonds. All right. So we're going to look at ZN1 and the bond market. This is where the game begins, man. Let's go to the weekly chart. Should always be on top of this. So the 10-year note, this is the 10-year note futures. Okay, see that? And this thing's got a triple top up here. You see that? That's so we knew the resistance was there. My line has been up there for weeks and weeks and weeks. So does the market confirm? Yes, it confirmed. There's resistance up there. Now it's fooling around a support level. Look at this. It's fooling around this support level. Look how many touches are at this support level. Here, I'm going to draw a line right here. Look at how many touches are on that support level, right? Look at this. We have one here, right? One back here. You have one over here, right? You have these tails over here. Look at this. Touch, touch. And we have this one just recently, yesterday, Friday, whatever. You see that? So that's a significant level. If that level breaks, what are you saying? Look at the tether. Okay, now so those okay, Hamid, I can't look at those. I can't look at those, man. I know that's what you're always gonna. I could look at ETFs, okay, but I can't pull those things up. That's going to be referred to the other channel. All right, so that's why I gave that whole speech, the whole explanation about the other channel, because I can't go over those now. I have to stick. It's a conflict of interest. I have to stay within my agreement. All right, so that's one of the drawbacks. But you know what? It's like it'll be better for everyone because we'll be able to do stuff on that channel and put the value over there. Okay, yeah, I can do that. Sure, I can do that. So all right, so you guys understand that with the bonds? So here's the thing to take away from this. If this level breaks, with conviction and something like, the NFP, even though it's an old NFP tomorrow, that can have this effect because there may be a surprise in that report that has not been priced in by the market. There may be something there because this is, again, it's very unusual. We don't get a delayed NFP on a Tuesday, right? So that's unusual. There could be a dramatic reaction here, right? And this thing is going to be very sensitive to that. If this thing breaks lower and closes decisively lower, that means long-term rates are rising. And that's not good. That is not the goal of the Fed. That is not what the government wants. And that's going to have a bearish effect on the economic growth. Yeah, Kai, I can. Yeah, Mr. and IBIT. Yep, I can do that. Sure. So yeah, all right. Thanks, guys. I'll look at those, and I'll do that after the bond chart here. All right, we'll start with Mr. Because I love doing Michael Saylor impressions. So yeah, we'll do that, and IBIT. We can do that. So all right. So listen, if we break and we do this, right? We decisive break lower because of, whatever. It could be non-farm payrolls tomorrow. It could be the CPI on Thursday, whatever, right? Those are big catalysts. We do something like that. Like I said, rates are rising and they should be. That's going to have a negative effect on things, right? Stock market's not going to like that because, things like gold and Bitcoin will not like that. Gold and Bitcoin do not like rising rates. They want lower rates, right? That's cheap money, not more expensive money. So keep that in mind, right? It's not a coincidence that rates are rising and Bitcoin has been struggling. Let's go to the yield curve real quick, right? US 10, because the 10-year, this is like this is like the king of the bond market right here. All right, because everything that's, most loans are based on this. So this is the inverse of the chart that I just showed you, right? I showed you the bond prices, the futures. This is the yield, right? That's bullish. Look at this. Let's zoom out. This is a weekly chart, right? Look at this. Look what we have here. I mean, this is a triangle, first of all, right? I mean, if I drew a trend line here, right, that's a triangle, but we have basically like a range, right? You see this consolidation? We've been fooling around at that range low. Look, we have an inverted head and shoulders. You could see the inverted head and shoulders right there. You see that? Let me just look at the but I don't like how all this looks. I'm increasing my shorts. Well, yeah, Kai, it doesn't, I'll tell you, it's not a bullish look for the stock market. It's not a bullish look for these things that are anti-inflationary, like Bitcoin is anti-inflationary, right? So it's not a good look. But so what are they going to do? They can't manipulate the 10-year note like they can the shorter durations, right, with their rate cuts. They can't do that. In fact, they had the meeting on Wednesday, right? They cut, but from what I understand, they said no, they're not going to cut at the next meeting. So they got a little hawkish there. That was sort of like, not exactly what the market wanted to hear. Yes, yes, booty cheeks. That's right. You guys can't see that. I'm going to show it. You guys, if you guys can't see it, yes, you're going to take off your shorts. I just don't take them off here because it's not that type of channel. But there are other channels that would probably be more in line with that, more aligned with that type of thing there. And when you see my other channel, you'll probably have to take off your shorts because you're going to poop in them. Anyway, all right. So yeah, I'm telling you, it's all that whole channel is gonna be based on his humor. That's a good hint right there. All right. So if these yields continue to rise, if they rise like this, this is where you're going to see problems like bank failures and other kinds of bearish things. So keep an eye on this chart because people are always like, "What's the future of the stock market?" It's here. This is where it is. The bond yields, right? So the bond yields are like ahead of the game here, right? So all right, let me take this off here. Shout out to Invisible. Yeah, you can't see him. I know. I gotta. Yeah, I gotta look into that further, man. I couldn't find why you're not visible, but I don't know who if it's YouTube. I don't know if it's a setting on my channel. I gotta look again. Anyway, but yeah, when you put those comments, I'll put them up so people can see them. So anyway, all right. So you guys clear on that? So if you're looking for perspective, again, for those of you that trade Bitcoin, you trade altcoins or whatever, this chart is important for those. If you're investing, you have to be aware of the bond market, right? The bonds are very connected, especially now with all this institutional activity going on. Now that they're making me read news articles, I'm like, oh, I had no idea they were doing this and doing that and doing this. Like they're very connected, man. So I mean, so that means when bond market does things, it's going to have an effect on things like Bitcoin and stuff like that. All right. I like to be listening to you and benefit from your analysis. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I'm going to put it in. Before I wrap this up, guys. I have to build the anticipation. This is me trying to do marketing. All right, because that's one thing I'm not good at. So that's why I'm putting the carrot. Usually, the normal me, the simp me, would be like, "Yeah, I give you the link right now at the beginning of the stream," and you guys, thanks, and you're out of here. You're all gonna leave. But not you guys. But it's not you guys actually. It's the guys that don't. It's the bots besides UTXO. It's the guys you know watching on Twitter who are too lazy to come into the YouTube channel. So yeah, marketing P markets. That's gonna be the channel that when I start a marketing one, it'll be marketing P markets. Great, I like it. All right, good. I think I'll hire you as my strategy. You could be my strategy manager. We could talk about Powell movements all day. All right, so let's move on. So let's get to what you guys want to talk about, Mister. Let's talk about Mister. Uh, hold on. If bonds go bullish, good for what kind of thing? All right, Hamid, good question. Well, no, hold on. So bonds, when you say bonds go bullish, there's the bond yield and there's the bond price, right? You don't want bond yields to go bullish, and they're poised to go bullish. If the bond yield breaks out like this, that means bond prices, because they're inverted. If the bond yield does that, that means bond prices are going lower, right? And that's bad. So what you want bond yields to go lower and bond prices to go higher, right? So just so you're not confused, let's just put the bond prices back on here, right? Because the yield and the price are not the same thing. They're inverted. Here's the bond price. This is the futures, right? The futures price. This should be bullish, not bearish. And it looks bearish, right? You got the triple top, right? It's the inverted yield, what we just saw. You're sitting on a support. The support can break. We have some major catalysts ahead of us this week. This support could break, or maybe they say some good things. Some good things come out, and you see the bond market do this. If the bond market does that, Hamid, then that's bullish for everything. Bitcoin should find a bid after that. The stock market should be happy. Anything anti-inflationary should be happy if you see something like that in the bond market. Okay, so you want to see bond prices look like this, going higher, not lower. And you want to see the yields. So if these prices are going higher, the yields should be going lower. Lower yields means cheaper money. Cheaper money means everyone can borrow money and buy things with it, right? Like, buy stuff and go to Amazon and make Jeff Bezos richer. So he could be, on his giga yacht pulling his, what. All right. Anyway, my other channel it's leaking into here. It's leaking into me right now. You're getting a preview of it because that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about on there. So anyway, all right. So I hope I explained that. It's a good question. Let's take a look at Mr. All right, because you know how much I love Michael Saylor. So MSTR. In fact, I saw a news article that I have to read. I have to talk about in today's video, and it said something about how he just bought like a few $billions, whatever, over the previous week of Bitcoin. But they referred to his company as Strategy, not Micro Strategy. I'm like, what happened to Micro? What they dropped the Micro? And I was like, what's up with that? So I was going to make a joke about that, but I got to show that. So UTXO says this Powell movement. You got problems, man. I don't know. I can't help you with that. You're gonna have to. Talk to someone. I don't know. Yeah, I can't help you, man. I hope you get that cleaned up. Anyway, so let's. That's exactly the mood, man. All right. So you've inspired me. So look at this thing. Here's Mr. Right, MSTR. Now, understand something, Hamid and Kai, with this thing. I'm sure Kai understands. Hamid, you may not. This thing, he's buying all the Bitcoin he can. He wants to, he's trying to corner the market, I guess. I don't know. He's doing whatever, but he's leveraging, right? And he's taking all the money that comes into the stock and he's buying Bitcoin with it, right? And he's had clearly he's over leveraged and he's had problems with that. That's why this thing is more exaggerated than Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin goes lower, this thing like poops harder than UTXO over here. So you don't like him because he can manipulate the market. Well, yeah, what do you think he says when, I watch him at the Bitcoin conference, right? And he comes out and he's like, send me all your Bitcoin and I'll send you 3 Bitcoin back because Bitcoin by tomorrow is going to be like $300 billion and we're all going to be so rich, we're not going to know what to do with the money. We're just going to be playing with ourselves all day like I do all the time. I mean, come on, man. He's the biggest con artist with that nonsense. It's like, so I have to make fun of him. And I make fun of him a lot in my other channel. All right. Like when they give me something, whenever I see his name, that's it. I start up with that. Because of the ETFs, BTC get mad. I'm not sure what you mean there. Sailor, what's Booty saying over here? Oh, let me see. I got to. Sailor got a surgical enhancement so they stopped calling his company my. It's funny that you say that, Secretary. It's funny that you say that because I was going to make a joke about exactly that in my video today. I was actually going to do something referring to Micro and that whole thing. Yeah, I was gonna go there. Yeah. So that's funny. I like that. Anyway, thanks for the confirming my idea. So, all right. So this chart looks horrible. All right. Clearly, we got lower highs, right? Lower highs, and we all know what Bitcoin's doing. Okay. Now, this thing tends to exaggerate what Bitcoin does. So it's similar to the Bitcoin chart, but it's going to be more dramatic. I looked at this. I don't like this stock as far as options plays go because it's ridiculously expensive and this thing is wild, right? So I mean, playing short options with this, you'll get great premiums, but you have to be prepared to get hammered if it goes the wrong way, right? I mean, so like something like this, you may collect $1,000 for the premium, but on a short, like a short vertical spread. But if you're looking at out of the money ones, like the ones that I like to do, then you're looking to make $1,000, but you're risking like 2,000 or 3,000. So if you're wrong, that's the premiums are like on this thing. So it's a little too high for me. That's on one contract. So it's a little high. You shorted Galaxy GLXY via options. Oh, interesting. What is that, Kai? GLXY. Oh, okay, okay, cool. We could take a look at that. Do you want to tell us anything about it? We could take a look at it real quick. All right. So anyway, so as far as the stock goes, right? The stock itself doesn't look good. This is a weekly. Let's go to the daily. Okay. Hold on here. Let's go to the daily chart. Right. Looks like it's making lower highs and lower lows. But here's the thing. Like I said, we're going into this area with this space where we're looking at possibility of lows and failed lows, right? So if there's a massive bounce, something like this, a lot of people may be caught short. Okay. I mean, first of all, the double bottom formation or the failed low it's in play right now. I mean, look, your low is right here. You're almost retesting it. Okay. So something like this, that's your low. This thing can very easily go slightly lower like this, right, in this area, and then reverse, right? And again, what will cause something like that? Some type of catalyst relative to Bitcoin, some type of news comes out, the entire Bitcoin and the whole group rally hard, right? They bounce hard because we know the levels that we're at, as you'll see in my other channel, the levels that we're at are very, very significant on the big picture. So this is poised to capitalize as well. Just remember, I don't know if you're looking to invest in this thing, but if you are, I can tell you this. These are good investment prices. You just have to be prepared to take some pain. You shouldn't be, if like I say, opportunity lurks in the weakness. So this is where people should be interested. Like, oh, these are great prices. Like going to the supermarket and getting your favorite food on sale, right? You stock up on it because you're like, oh yeah, I'm getting 50% savings. I'm going to buy a whole bunch of it because next week it's going to be back to the regular price. This is a similar thing. It's not exactly because there's a lot more risk than buying food, but it's similar. So this is where you should be excited to try to accumulate a position or whatever. You just have to be very responsible with the risk because keep in mind, this is a wild stock and this thing may break. It may break ugly, but I think I may buy some shares of this stock because look at this thing. This is a good price for 162. You realize this effing stock was like 400 and something. When Bitcoin was at 126, this thing was at 459 and we're at 160. So it's wild, man. And they're punishing him for whatever. But Bitcoin turns, he just bought a whole bunch of it. I just saw a news article. I think it was from Cointelegraph. He just bought a few $1 billion worth of it. So this is a proxy for Bitcoin. It's just a wild one, right? So does that make sense? So the chart structure itself, this is a lower high. You're going for the lower low, but because of those fundamental things, I would be watching for the reversal. If you don't like it, you could step aside or you could take small bites. I wouldn't aggressively buy into this thing, but this might be a good one for small bites, like one share. Look how cheap this thing is. Oh, they're in the AI data center. Okay. Okay, cool. Thanks, Kai. Let's take a look at Coinbase real quick. And then what was the other one? You guys, iBit. We'll do iBit. Let's look at Coinbase. Right? Look at Coinbase. Now, I've been trying to accumulate this. Where are we at? 250. So I think I bought my second share. I bought my first share at 240 and I left a limit order in the market, right? And now here's an interesting thing. And I think I left that order at 250. I forgot where I left it, but I believe it was for one share, right? So now I have two shares. I have an average price at 245. Now understand something. I bought it at 240, right? And we were fooling around over here somewhere. We bounced up to like 270, whatever. And I had my one share. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to get out of it because, it's only one share. I'm anticipating like a move back to 300 up into this area, right? So look, we've pulled back dramatically today. We've been pulling back, and now I got my one share. And I just left the order in the market, and they filled me. I'm sure I have it now because today's low is 246. Yeah, I'm in it. So 2 shares. Am I going to get beat up on 2 shares? No, I don't think so. I'm not worried about 2 shares. And then what I'll do in this type of situation, because again, my plan is to accumulate Coinbase. I chose Coinbase over MSTR because Coinbase is more tame. And also, Coinbase has its own separate type of business model where they're making money by ripping people off on commissions. So that's why I chose Coinbase. But the main reason was it's just more tame. And but I like MSTR. I like those prices, man. So Coinbase again, they're all doing the same thing, right? So this area right here, what is that low? 229. So I may put another order at 230, right, to try to buy another one, or maybe two. In fact, I think I have an order at 220. I may have an order there. I have to check. I forgot. So I think these two narratives may fade ahead in the future, and Galaxy is technically at an interesting point. We'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at that since you mentioned it. Why don't you buy? Well, I am. Why? Well, hold on. The reason why I only buy one share, Hamid, is because I don't want to get caught in this thing. If Bitcoin pulls back to 60K, if there's an extreme situation, these things are going to get hammered, right? And there'll be even better prices. So this is how I control my risk with tiny size, right? So one share every 30 points. Like I don't mind if I can accumulate 5 or 10 shares that way. That's enough for me. There's no way I'm going to be doing hundreds of shares at a time, especially in these things, right? So one share, I'm not afraid. I'm a strong hand. They're not going to shake me out of one share. They're not going to shake me out of 3 shares. They're not going to shake me out of 5 shares. This thing can go to $50 a share and I'll be buying more, right? One share at a time. That's what gives you that type of confidence, right? Because I really don't care how low this goes. It doesn't make me sweat. But if I was putting on 100 shares at a time, I would be with UTXO right now with the Powell movement, right, in my pants. So does that make sense? All right. So let me answer your question, okay? And let's see. I see what Kai has here. So, hold on. Coinbase has the advantage that it is cooperating. Or MicroStrategy. Hey, maybe that has something to do with it. Yeah, let me put that in there. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. But do you understand where I'm coming from with the dollar cost averaging perspective? These markets look ugly right now, man. This is the time to be interested in longs. It could be in your altcoins. It could be in whatever. Because this is up here. This is where you don't want to be interested. That's where I warn people: don't buy these things. Hey, right now it's going to be double. This is where you should be excited. Hey, now I can buy good prices. That's where, okay? But the retail, they panic here, and they're not interested in good prices here. Oh, I don't know now. I don't know. This thing may go lower. It looks ugly. I'm not going to buy it now. It's on sale. Buy it. I can't give you financial advice, but I'm buying it just one share at a time. All right, I'm doing it carefully. That's how I do it carefully. All right, let's take. So Kai had mentioned it's an option spread here. Let's take a look. When you want to sell it, well, so Hamid, I don't have a time. I have a price. So my objective is 300 on Coinbase. That's my investment objective. Now that's for if I can accumulate 5 to 10 shares, if the market gives me that opportunity. Because if it reverses and I only have 3 shares, maybe I'll buy 2 more on the way up, possibly. But it's a good thing I wasn't aggressively buying in this leg because now it'd all be against me. Right now, the trade isn't even against me, right? So and because I'm waiting for good prices and I put limit orders below the market. So if an opportunity like this comes along, great, I just picked some up and I wasn't even looking, right? So one price objective is 300. If the market has legs and it's running again, because if we're in a free money environment and the Fed is just giving money away at street corners, we may push higher. We may be pushed back into these areas up here. What if Bitcoin goes back up to the 126 and we're in a wave 5, which we could possibly depends after today, I don't know. But if we have that scenario, I'll have some nice profits in this thing. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to sell them, as Jerry Seinfeld would say. All right? so that's my plan with Coinbase. I talked about this weeks ago when I first got in, and I see now I got my second fill, and I'm going to try to buy again. I'm going to try to scale into about 5 to 10 shares, right? And so if that continues, if Coinbase collapses and I have 10 shares again, I can handle that, right? That's not going to scare me out. So, and Coinbase is not going out of business, at least not yet. All right, let's take a look at GLXY. You want to, when you dollar cost average with stocks, you want to pick strong companies, right? That you know that aren't going out of business anytime soon. You don't want to do them with like some cheap penny stock or whatever. Like, oh, I'm going to scale into this thing, and then tomorrow it's zero. So all right, here's Galaxy. Oh, I think I've heard of this. Yeah, Kai, this looks familiar. Wow, so Kai has an options position on here. Let's see. So Kai says, let me find your comment over here, Kai. Man, I talk too much, man. I got to wrap this up in a few minutes because I got to make my video, guys. Where's your options thing here, Kai? I'm looking for it. Hold on, I can't see. Uh, where is he? Here it is. Okay, so here's Kai's option thing. I structured the trade via calendar. Okay, for a Galaxy, so I do not mind. Oh, okay. So it's a calendar. All right, so that one, that so I'm thinking. I know what the I is it just basically a vertical just on two separate dates instead of the same date? Is that what that is? Because when I think calendar, I'm thinking horizontal spread. Where you basically have um, uh, when you do a calendar spread, you're doing a front month and a back month sort of thing, right? You're doing two separate dates, but the same price, which is an interesting thing, right? It's a little more a calendar spread is a little more complex. I don't really mess with calendar spreads, but they can be very low risk plays as well. Like you short the front month, buy the back month, or you do the opposite, right? Like one you collect money, one you spend money. You weekly? Okay, let's take a look at the weekly. All right. And Kai, maybe you could tell us. So you have a calendar. So let me see. Basically, the short leg is both and more out of the money. So, but are they the same date or they're separate dates? Right? Are they separate dates? I'm just trying to understand. I'm trying to understand the legs of the position because I usually don't open stuff like that. But it's good to know. So basically, Kai, what are you looking for? You're looking for this thing to stay in the range. What's he say? Separate dates. Oh, separate dates, right? Okay. And separate prices. The short leg is the shorter date. Okay. And what about the prices? Are the prices the same? Or are the prices, is your price the same? Or are they not the same price? You have like what is this thing? Like a $25 one by a $30 one, or is it both like $25? Can you tell us that or no? Maybe he doesn't want to tell us that. But you just say same price. You don't have to give us a number if you don't want to give us a number. But so he wants it to go lower. So he says, yes, price also not the same. Oh, okay, I see. All right, so it's not like your typical calendar spread. I got it. All right, so here let me take this off the screen here. So this position, he basically wants it to go lower, right? All right, so you're positioned for it to go lower. And so Kai, basically, is it that you've opened up a range of prices, and if this thing goes lower into the range of prices, then that's where you get your maximum profit? Like if it closes inside of there, for example, something like that. Does that make sense? You have a nice head and shoulders pattern here, by the way, right? You have a shoulder, right? Shoulder over here, and you have a head right here. That's not the little head UTXO. That's the big head. All right, just for clarification. Um, so yeah, got it. That's a very interesting position. Now, I mean, that looks like just an outright short. And this is Galaxy. So obviously, it's going to suffer along with the rest of the space. So again, something like this. I forgot to mention it's ratio. Oh, okay. I don't. So you're more short than long, obviously. And you have a support level right here at $22. right around that $22, but you're coming off of a lower high. So that's certainly, this looks bearish. There's nothing bullish about this, except the only bullish argument you have is you have this trend. This trend is still intact, right? And it's defined by this level right here. If that level is cleared, then the trend goes into question. So that's a key level right there, right? That makes sense. And that level is what is that? That's yeah, $22. Right. Okay. Cool. Interesting. Nice. So I bet on on this clear. Okay. So you're looking for that level to break, which again, I think you have a nice probability for that. That makes sense. That definitely makes sense. Okay, cool. Thank you for sharing. All right, so I covered all the main ones, I think. All right, it's an hour. I got to wrap this up here. All right, so let me do this, guys. I wanted to go over gold and all that, but I can't keep going because I have to do my video, man. I'll be up till 2 a.m. So that's what I've been doing. Like yesterday, I was up. I got the video delivered at like 2:30 a.m. I can't even think straight. In technical analysis, always things happen again. Okay, so history, they call it history repeats itself, right? Hamid, history repeats itself. That is a phenomenon in technical analysis, right? There are three basic tenays. There is history repeats itself, markets trend, right? These are all truths of technical analysis. Markets trend, history repeats itself, and price is what do they call that? Price discounts the future. That might be a little harder to understand, but basically what that means is the market prices in future ideas now. Okay. So yeah, well, it's Kai. It's certainly, it's because I'm accountable. It's given me motivation. Like I said, I should have been doing this a long time ago, but I never had the motivation. But these guys gave me structure, and now I'm motivated. So that's why, and I'm having fun with it. It's tiring, but it's good. I enjoy it, and I think you guys will like it too. I hope you guys like it. Don't like it just because I'm asking you to like it. I want to know your honest opinion because it's how you at UTXO and me we fool around on here. The entire video is like that. Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you the link now because you guys are patient and you guys. All right. I want that link. I'm going to put it in here. Hold on a second. Let me. Okay. Hold on. I'll get it here in a second. Yeah. So the whole video, I get very like sophomoric like that. I guess that's the right word to use. All right. So yeah, I think that's the link. Yeah. All right. I'm going to put it in here. All right. So this is the channel. This is the YouTube channel. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to put it in the chat. That's the YouTube channel. So you guys can see that? Can you guys see that? Yeah, there it is. Okay. That's the YouTube channel. It's called Mark's Market. That's what they called it. All right, so who cares about the name, man? I mean, so that's what he came up with. I don't care about the name. We can always change the name, but they put like a logo up and stuff like that, and they put a bunch of videos up. So the video that I published at like 2:30 a.m. that they published it. You'll see that video. You'll see the other three videos. I'm telling you, I get a little I may be a little offensive. So if you take offense, I apologize. But yeah, and use okay. Great, Kai. Yeah, if I get a little, yeah, I like that logo too, man. They came up with that stuff. I could never come up with that. You know what I mean? They came up with that stuff. So they put that together, and we're running with the thing right now. But I'm just saying, I have some jokes in there. I get a little ethnic. I'm not exactly politically correct, but I'm just trying to be funny. Does that mean they? No, I don't think that's what that means, Booty Cheeks. I don't think that's what that means. Iser, zer, zar, him, her, him, us. I don't even know. Yeah, don't even get me started on that. Don't even get me started on that. All right, you guys. So does that all make sense? Okay, I'm just going to switch this back to the SPY. All right, so I just want to say that don't if you're mad, I apologize. I'm just doing it to be funny, and I don't want to offend you guys, but I get a little I do get ethnic at some points. Okay, that is Zoom. Oh, it is Zoomer language. Great. Oh, wait. Booty cheek comment, bro is cooking. Yeah. So, oh, yeah. So I haven't seen the channel yet. I saw like a picture of it, but I've just been too busy making the videos, man. So every day these videos are going to be coming out, man. Every day. Which again, like I said, I'm lazy, so I got to come up with this stuff. And if I don't send it, I get text messages. Where's the video? Where's the video? So um, no, I don't. I'm too old for that, man. I'm Zoomer. Yeah, I'm too old. I don't. Oh, that's the language. Comment bro is cooking. Oh, it's like that finance bro stuff, right? Yeah, yeah. I'm too old for that, man. I'm definitely too old for that. I talk like it's like 70s. You're like, hey, man. That's how I talk, like that. So fur no cap. El boomer fur no cap. Yeah, I mean you're speaking like another language there, man. That's like I don't even know what you're saying. All right, Kai. But it's good. It's good to learn these things. So, guys, just watch that stuff with an open mind. And like I said, I'll still be streaming on Mondays, like we are here, and we can talk about our things. And you want to ask me questions or whatever. If you have questions about altcoins and all this stuff, I can refer it to the other channel. I am too old too, but I can be, yeah, like the young girls, as my friend calls them, the jung girls. You if to speak that way to get to the jung girls, yeah, I mean it can only help if it helps your game. I don't know, but I just can't. I'm just not. I have a hard enough time learning Spanish, and I'm going to learn that language. So anyway, all right, you guys. So I want to see I'm over my time here. I said I was gonna get off at an hour, and I'm a few minutes over. But anyway, all right. So guys, enjoy the channel. Leave comments on there. Let me know what you think. And I just hope you're not mad. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. I hope you don't get mad at me because when you see it, you'll understand why. All right, guys, because I could be a little, I'm just trying to be funny. So don't take it personally. All right. So other than that, guys, again, news all over the place. Gold price 4,700 for 2026. 4,700. Well, I mean, Goldman Sachs. Yeah, Kai. Yeah, just that's all I'm saying. All right, that's all I'm saying. Kai's gonna write me an email. I thought this comment was very offensive. I'm gonna get an email from Kai. I have a feeling. I'm joking. I'm joking. I think you have a sense of humor. But I hope you have one anyway. I have long dated calls on gold and silver miners. Yeah, I think you know what, Hamid, silver went nuts. Gold has a lot of. I agree with the bullish sentiment on gold. It's because it's the easy money, man. It's the bonds. Now the bonds have been rising a bit, but if they start with this money printing thing, like all the talk has been, and Powell has changed, and they changed the Powell movement in May because they're going to replace him. That's going to lead up. Also, remember all these rate cuts that we had. We just had the third cut. That really takes time to factor into the system. So that's why we haven't seen the effects really yet. It takes time. So gold is I believe gold has a lot more room to go higher. I'm still bullish on those things, which means Bitcoin still has that potential as well. All right, guys, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave you with that. You're gonna start an email campaign. Yeah, I know. Kai, I think Kai's gonna be pissed. I don't know. Mohammed too. I may have pissed you guys off. I don't know. But anyway, leave comments on the channel. Let me know. Okay, let me know. And if I pissed you off, I apologize. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Rate cuts and suppressing hikes in Japan. China buying gold. Overall fear. Right. So yeah, true. The hike in Japan, yeah, that should be bullish for gold. That's interesting. Okay, cool. Rate cuts suppressing, yeah, the rate cuts. Oh, right. Well, yeah, right. China, yeah, that's a big one. Of course, yeah, yeah. So, and any other surprises that pop up, right? Gold is just poised, man. It's just poised. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. It's just poised. It's just got it's weird that in that type of environment. So anyway, that makes sense. Weakens the dollar. If that weakens the dollar, then yeah, that makes sense. Okay, thanks for clarifying. All right, guys. So I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to wrap this up now. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy the other channel. I'll see you next week again, and hopefully you guys are still not, you come and you're not mad at me. Enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, wherever you're in the world, and thank you so much for watching.